Okay. Hi, my name's Rob. I'm a spiritual seeker. I've spent many, many years on a path of seeking, and it over the last few years, I've realized that it's basically become something of a habit and something that the ego has somehow hijacked or co-opted to keep me thinking that I'm progressing, keep me thinking I'm going forward, but in reality, I realize that there's an element, a trap in it as well, as the different spiritual tools I've learned and picked up over the years have worked to a certain extent, and then at some point they stop working, and the suffering comes back. Um, and you can be in a very, very nice state, but you're not really engaging in your relationships. You're not engaging in the world. You're not in the sort of meat and potatoes of existence. You're not in the body so much, and that's where the bypassing takes place. So that's where I find myself at the moment. I don't know if Peter, you have any experience of that, or it resonates with you.
Yeah, I don't really do spiritual bypassing because I'm not meditating a lot. But I think this bypassing or suppression is an automatic thing we all do,
Mm.
and I'm not so much into spiritual practice, to say the truth. But it's interesting what parts of ourselves are looking for peace, are looking for love, and how easy we actually can connect to those parts. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's not, yeah, I don't meditate either particularly. It's not but a lot of it is even your just your mental state, your constant. I did self-inquiry for many years, so that's it is a meditation, but it's very much a meditation in the bit like uh the mindfulness type thing. It's something you can apply off the mat. It's not something. So I've been applying the technique, which is technique called KI inquiry, which I've been learning with Scott Kilby, and it's been quite successful. It's based on because you're spiritually bypassing, you're kind of letting everything arise as it is. So you kind of lose, you're not setting boundaries in the same way because you're allowing the world to arise as it is. You're allowing people to arise and behave as they do, and then while you're accepting that, you're accepting it on one superficial level, but there's buried anger with that because it's not a real acceptance. It's a intellectual or it's a semi. There's somewhere along the line that you're repressing emotions. So it's based on working on those repressed emotions and releasing those. And my experience so far has been in a couple of months, in the couple of months I've been doing it, is that it's very much bringing coming back into the body, allowing certain emotions to come up, or seeing how few boundaries I have with people. So learning to set boundaries again with people instead of saying, okay, well, no, this guy owes me money, or I've got this now. Well, we're all spiritual. It doesn't matter. It's not, we're in abundance. Blah. Say, no, no, actually, I need to talk to this person, and because really, I'm angry about that. And I feel that so it's much more about it's realizing how inauthentic I've been as a human
Mm.
because I've invented a kind of spiritual, chilled personality. So it's very much based on seeing how the ego constantly fights for safety. So in my case, I felt safety in the fact that, okay, I'm on a spiritual path, I'm searching, I'm this, I'm that, I'm doing. So there's been a false safety in that. And which is basically my childhood repressions playing out again. That's all it is. It's scanning the room. Okay, mum needs this. Okay, so I appear in this way, that when in this way, and my needs get met.
So
Okay,
let's investigate this a little bit practical, if you don't mind. with the inner transformation process. When I ask you where this search or this part of you is, what you're talking about, where is it in your body, which is
So in my
searching
case,
for
in
safety?
my body, I mean, and I suppose everybody is different in this, um, is so you decide on something. So for example, you would say something like, the idea is you say, okay, it's safe to be angry. It's safe to express my anger. It's safe to express my anger. And then you see at some point where that arises in your body. So it might arise in the throat, it might arise in the head. It might be a very subtle thing. It just depends on the person. I get it very much in the kind of lower chakra, lower stomach area, intestine, this area. That's where it tends to be for me, sacrum. But everybody's different. And so you find that point in your body as it appears, and then you flip the affirmation and you say, it's not safe to show my anger. It's not safe to show my anger. You're not, and you very intensely go into that point in your body where that where that feeling is manifesting. And you see what happens. And in my case, it dissipates very quickly and my body will go into spasms, um, and something is dissolved. And it's
Mm.
quite similar to PTSD. I did this years ago, about 10 years ago, where PTSD, I was just doing stuff on my psoas muscles. And so it's very similar to that, except it has an inquiry element to it and it's more of an understanding built in to where the repression comes from. And then you go back to the dominant repression, which is anger in my case. And then you go back and you say, it's safe to be angry. It's safe to express my anger. It's safe to express my anger. And then you just let it play out. You see how you feel afterwards. And it may take a few times to get into it. It may take a few times for it to work. And basically, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Um, and well, there's nothing really else to add except that um, you need to decide, find what is the dominant emotion. Is it anger? Is it sadness? In my case, it's absolutely 100% anger. It's rage. There's a couple of
Yeah.
times when I've gone into it and it's just, wow, I'm just angry, but not with everybody. I mean, with every absolute rage, angry with everything, the world, just this absolute rage. Mm. And you're slowly letting it go. And because you're doing it constantly, it's safe to do it. I do it 2 days, maybe once a day, weekends 2, 3 times a day, or whenever, even walking down the street. If I I went shopping the other day and I could feel the anger and I did it in the shop and I felt that anger dissipate and calm and dissolve. And it's a safe way of doing it because you're doing it gradually, layer by layer by layer by layer.
And you always play with it is safe and it's not safe to do something.
That's how the technique is taught. So
Mm.
because what you're doing is you're saying, because really the false message is it's safe. That's what you said, it's safe to do that. When you go into it's not safe, that's where you find where the actual body constriction, restriction or constriction is, where it actually isn't safe. That's where the blockage is. So once you go into that blockage, then that's when it opens up. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what do you think the most people need nowadays in this? We're talking about that we're living in a time of change. Some things maybe get easier. What do people need now in spiritual terms? What kind of advice or
Well,
what
it
kind of
it
path?
seems to be a lot to do with that. I've got a couple of students who are psychologists, and mentioned that all their work is based on anxiety management now. Everybody's just anxious, but the core feeling or the core cause of that would probably be anger repression. Most things go back to anger, but it seems it's a childhood anger. It's your first kind of like, because anxiety is where you can't control the situation. I mean, it's all about control. It's all about digging out that mostly appears to be anger. Again, I've only been doing it for a couple of months, but what appears to me that most of it's anger. And I would say if you talk to the man in the street, anxiety.
Mm. And when the anger is coming out, you don't have to express it. It's just energy, right?
Might come out as noise, might come out as vocally. It might come out as a visceral release. but not in a kind of I'm experiencing that day with my mom. No, it's not like a, and that's the safety element of it. It's coming out in a very, very safe way. And I suppose that what comes out is what you're ready to let go of as well, because and then you're slowly seeing all the time how often you're mm, repressing it, or you'll even say, "Oh no, I don't really need to do any repression work today," because, but then even that's the avoidant aspect
Mm.
of, and then and also seeing what an avoidant I am. A lot of it's to do with avoidant personalities as well. It seems certainly in my case, huge amount of avoidant in my character.
You mean avoidance of conflict
The
or
avoidant
situation?
type, you've got it's very fashionable now. You've got your narcissist and your psychopaths, and now the avoidant. Well, not now, but I think Jung talked about the avoidant as well. So the avoidant is this thing. It's what I was saying earlier. I come to you when I need love, and I run away from you when I need safety.
Mm.
So there's this. You're constantly avoiding the thing you want, but when you have it, it makes you feel so unsafe. Because at some point in my life, I was adopted, I was abandoned, blah, blah, blah. That's happened a few times in my life. So, of course, I want that love failed me at some point. I don't remember. It was a baby. But so there's this clear, and that's played out in my relationships. So you go to the partner, they show you love, but it's too scary. So you pull back
Yeah.
because the control in and the safety or the safety of the ego is in the being able to control that, turn the tap on and off as and when you sort of need it. Do you not have that, or you don't? Does that resonate with you?
No, this is a big fear point for me too. I was born 6 weeks too early, and I was isolated, and I spent the first 1.5 years with my grandparents because my mother was still studying in another town. So I think that I have an issue with that too. So I'm be feeling many men, above all else, feel very unsafe in the presence
Mm.
of love, right? Because we think we have to earn something.
Yeah, and then you learn what you do learn is that the kind of uh, you learn the kind of love that is based on condition because you're in the room, but you're servicing your parents' needs in the end. Because my father is anger repressor, so I have to behave in a certain way to get his approval. And in the end, you don't even know who you are in the end, and nor do they. They've done the same thing. They did the same thing as children. So none of us are being authentic because I don't really know who I am because I was behaving in a way that was going to keep me safe in a safe place with my parents, but I don't know. So I've developed that persona and that's become me as an adult, but I don't actually even know who I am, if you know what I mean, because I was servicing everybody else's needs to
Yeah.
get my own needs met.
Yeah, and I think the social education of behavior, of the right behavior versus the wrong behavior, is now stronger than when we were children, right? I think to the internet, to the social media. What do you think?
There's a lot with the well, because we're going to back to the extreme right, there's a lot of talk about discipline and military service. It does seem to be going back to uh, in that sense, the pendulum seems to be swinging back to maybe the idea of more severe punishments um, in political sense for crime and things. At home, I don't know. At home, I'm not sure. At home, I think it went the other way to the point where children are now so in control
I mean,
of
I heard that children or young people, they come to the school blooding because they hurt themselves with knives.
bleeding. You mean? Yeah, yeah, bleeding. Mm.
Yeah, bleeding, and they were sent home when they're bleeding. And the reason for this is what I have heard said that the ego is growing so big because these children, as children, they were never, nobody said ever no to them. So they had
Exactly.
no boundaries. So in the growing of the ego, this person, this scientist said, disconnects them from the body. So in order to feel the body, they have to hurt the
You
body.
you have to hurt yourself. Everything has to be very extreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's where we're at. Maya talks about that. How the inflamed. I mean, if you look at capitalism, if we extrapolate from, outwards, capitalism has got to a point where it's so inflamed and bloated that it doesn't know what to sell anymore. Now they want to sell the water and the oxygen because and have all the land because there's nothing left to sell. There's nothing less. There are no services left to privatize. There are no products left to make. People don't have money, and now that it's so out of control. And I think possibly, we're seeing the end of that as well, capitalism, and that's where this big shift, I guess, will come.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's happening in the micro and the macro. It's happening at a personal level. You can feel it, and you go outside and you can see, wow, it's happening out there as well. Um, it's incredible, really, what's happening. I agree with that. Yeah, the kids don't have any boundaries whatsoever now. I mean, I teach teenagers, and wow, the level of entitlement, um, it's unbelievable. It's
Yeah, but
unbelievable.
I don't think they are very strong in a good way in their self space. I mean, in a good way in the ego sense, that they have a good sense of who they are. They are totally
Not at all.
uncertain
No,
about
because
this.
they're doing what we did because they're looking for safety, and also they're finding a lot of safety. They're great. They're great at theory because they've learned a lot of things on the internet that I wouldn't. I've got kids at 13, 14 who'll turn around and call me don't be a victim. You're being a narcissist. I would never have had that vocabulary at 14. It would have been impossible for me.
Yeah,
And they have this incredible sophistication, but they haven't lived.
yeah,
And they haven't put it into practice. So they're very good on theory, but they haven't been out yet into the world. And they're very, very, very vulnerable and I think they're gonna it's gonna be very difficult for some of them.
yeah,
I don't know what it is. Maybe we're just seeing the two extremes now, the left and the right, or the pendulum going each way, and we need to be somewhere in the middle, maybe. Or I don't know. I don't know what it would take to change that. That's
I
with
think
young
we have to
people.
work specifically with people, and that's what we do. That's what we offer here for you. That we help you to bring back your lost parts of the lost parts of
Yeah.
yourself. I think.
I think you can only do it from finding your authenticity, and then you're going to take that out into the world. It's not something you can find outside of yourself. And,
Yeah,
like we do, I'll go onto Amazon and buy some authenticity and but no, it's not that. It's the opposite. You have to cultivate it within yourself and find out who you are and very much on the spiritual path where I think so many people have awakened and having that knowledge of who you are, knowing that you are everything. I think that's you if you can do this work with that as a backdrop, that's a massive help. The problem is getting lost in that because knowing you're everything doesn't help you necessarily in a 3D world where you have to drive a car, you've got to feed the cat, you've got to do take care of all the attendant objective world issues.
yeah,
So yeah, that's somewhere I think this is where spirituality is heading now, I think, for the next few years.
yeah. So if you
The
need some
integration of
help,
the understanding, I think.
yeah, if you need some help on this way, we are here. You can ask questions. You can book an hour with us. We still have time. In the afternoons or in the mornings sometimes. And let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for listening to us and see you next time.
Take care, bye.